Everybody says this is the best game that's ever been invented.
The camaraderie in this game is greater than I think it is in any other sport.
It's very much a family sport.
It's a wonderful, wonderful winter sport.
I can't think of a better way to spend a snowy afternoon than out on the paddle court hitting some balls.
If it weren't for platform tennis, I don't know what we would do in the winter. It's been 5 degrees below on occasions, and your hands do get cold. But we have warmers, hand warmers.
There's so much more to paddle tennis, the angles, the team aspect, the screens, the deck, the weather. There's so much going on that I just think everybody should give it a try.
Well, my father was a New Englander, and his next-door neighbor was one as well, and they were good sportsmen. And we're trying to think of something to do in the wintertime that would be fun, outdoors.
My father was an engineer at Yale. He graduated in 3 years, and he loved to create things. And so he designed this court.
Jimmy Cogswell was the one who really got paddle tennis started for us, because he went into New York City and found a box with 2 wooden paddles, solid sort of square little paddles, and a sponge rubber ball, and he came home with this. And my father, Fez Blanchard, Fessenden, long name, and Jimmy began batting this thing back and forth and had a great time, except for the fact the balls kept falling off the edge of the court, and so that was the beginning of putting wires around the court.
I can remember the day that Fez hit a ball to the backstop, and Daddy took it. He was on the other side of the net. They'd often play singles. It didn't have to be doubles all the time. And he took it with his famous backhand and whipped it right off the screen and into the court. And Dad said, let's make that a fair point. And so from then on, they decided to include the backstop.
I think the real version is that the back baseline of the court that they set up was only about 2 feet from the wire, and it was very difficult to get a good swing on the ball. And they thought maybe it'd be fun if, when the ball lands in the court and it hits the back wire, to hit it back over the net before it lands on the ground. I think that was the true version, but I like the first one better.
All the neighbors were very, very enthusiastic. And we lived on Old Army Road. And they called their association of neighbors the Old Army Athletes.
The benches on the side of the court would be full with spectators. And I have a bearskin rug, which I still have. And there's a picture of me sitting in my mother's lap on the bearskin rug watching the paddle.
It was an easy game to play. In the beginning of paddle, you didn't have to have that much skill, so it was a wonderful social game.
The paddle was what took up most of the weekends, and all sorts of parties were held, and cookouts, and Japanese lanterns strung between the 2 properties, and it just was a very special time. And after the paddle tennis on the weekends, most of the Old Army athletes would go into the Cogswell's house, and poor Mrs. Cogswell, Francesca Cogswell, would serve everybody tea and cookies, and we just had a lovely social time.
Fez went and got these wonderful big raccoon coats down at the bottom of New York. And the people sitting on the benches, of course, were getting cold in the winter, so they wore these raccoon coats. And it really was quite a sight to see 2 or 3 benches loaded with people sitting in raccoon coats watching the paddle tennis.
And it just grew by just no particular plan ahead of time, but just practical reasons. Ended up having the wire. Practical reasons, being on a hillside, you had to stop the balls from rolling off the side. But then it grew by word of mouth. The Old Army athletes were a gregarious bunch, and they passed on their love of paddle to others. And my father was a good promoter. Both he and Jimmy were very enthusiastic souls that didn't mind being called damn fools for playing in the rain, playing in the snow. Absolutely. Well, it's a kick. Sometimes I come up to people and I think they've never heard of paddle tennis, and someone will mention, oh, my mom's father invented paddle tennis. Well, some are complete blank. They couldn't care less. But some people are just, you know, really excited and
very
it's
impressed.
Fun and
I find they're
impressed,
very
and
impressed.
of
And
course-
I'm just thrilled to have them be impressed.
Oh, me too.
I'm just so proud. I'm just so proud of my father, and I'm so proud of Uncle Fez. I mean, they gave the world a wonderful, fun thing.
Ever since the beginning in 1965, our Hall of Fame has simply been on paper. And the award for the men has been this type of jacket. The award for the women has been a gold bracelet with a charm. But we have never had a bricks and mortar Platform Tennis Hall of Fame. In 2002, the Platform Tennis Museum and Hall of Fame Foundation was created. It's a tax-exempt corporation. And the APTA board appointed 7 trustees to operate independently of the APTA.
One of the primary goals of the museum was to capture the past, and you can only do that once, and that's why Molly and Doe are so critical to all of this. But the second thing is to also be able to keep the present under control. So, for instance, we need to have all of the current champions. There are 26 different categories of championships. So we've got to be able to keep those records and have some good visuals. And the third thing is we have to look forward to the future. And that's what's going to make the museum vibrant.
People can go and see the bearskin rugs and see the coats that they used to play with and the old rackets. And I know a lot of people that I know who've been playing for a long time have these wonderful relics sitting in their attics collecting dust. And I mean, I think it's just such a wonderful thing that people are going to be able to go to a place where this sport can be applauded for what it is.
I think it's wonderful to have the museum go on, be able to present this to others who are enjoying the game, and have it remembered, have all this memorabilia together and remembered. That I'm thrilled with that.
Well, it's very important to not lose track of the things. We're getting a little older. I hate to admit it, but we are. And so people there in the very early days are disappearing. And some of the memorabilia may be lost if it's not put into one spot that will take care of it properly. And as I said earlier, I think some of it's sitting on my decrepit ping pong table in the basement, and that's no place for it. And it'd be important to have other people appreciate how the game developed and how it's gone on into the future.
The opportunity to give to this museum is very unique. It's only going to come around once. We have captured all of the 1928 on materials. It's going to be lively, dynamic, and what we're hoping is that for those people that we have a chance to talk to who A, have some funding that's available, and B, had a wonderful experience with the game, be it on whatever level, and want to make a contribution and want to be remembered as being part of the game, this is your chance.